glamps in the matrix. Your life trying to flip and pace. All the real talent behind them cages.
And we're back. Thank you guys for tuning back in with us for Week 9 Free Picks, brought to you by Overtime Live Sports Bet Radio and GilbertYoungArt.com. Last week, we had a pretty successful week. We only missed 4 games out of the full schedule. A few of them just by not covering. Obviously, the Monday night game, Cincinnati just got beat up. And I always feel like going after the Sunday schedule ends, going into Monday night, I always want to change my Monday night pick. I just have a fresher feel for what Vegas is doing with the lines and stuff. And I think that Cleveland Brown game was pretty obvious. I mean, especially them being at home, having the better pass rush attack against the weaker offensive line of the Bengals, and just Cincinnati being due for a bad week. They've been scoring so much, so effortlessly. But 4 games isn't a bad week. You know, we're picking up a couple units that week. We're coming into this week, I feel pretty confident about a lot of the schedules. A few good money lines, not too many spreads that I'm worried about covering, but we're kicking it off with this Eagles game, which is definitely a spread that I'm worried about covering. The Eagles are coming in, giving up almost 2 full touchdowns. They're on the road, so it's a tough matchup. Obviously, the 8-game win streak, it's hard to go undefeated, so somebody's going to have to beat these guys. Texans are obviously the worst team in the league, giving up one of the worst yardages in rushing and passing combined. Most teams that go in there at least have a fantasy performance statistically, and it shows. They're 0-3 at home with just that one win on the season. So I expect Jalen Hurts to come in here and get that done. It's a tough game. I'd probably leave it alone. I can't put any money on them covering that spread. I would imagine they're going to be playing it kind of close, kind of tight. I'm sure the tight ends will be heavily involved because they're going to be just trying to get this W. They're not worried about covering the 14. But the next game on the schedule, which is the first Sunday morning game, it's going to be Chargers going to the Falcons. 4-4 Falcons actually have a better record than the Chargers, as bad as the Falcons look. But Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert should be playing in this game. Eckler is obviously the number 1 running back in the league. Herbert's only thrown 4 interceptions, so he's having a pretty solid season, although their record doesn't show it. But the Atlanta secondary's got a lot of injuries. 2 of their cornerbacks and one of their strong safeties is out. And they're just allowing 318 passing yards per game. So I expect Herbert to come in here and have a big fantasy performance, 300, 400 yards, a couple touchdowns. Hopefully Eckler gets involved. They're actually not a very good rushing team, the Chargers are, but they throw to their running backs a lot. So Chargers are allowing 27 points per game, which is really too much. So it's tough for them to think that they don't win this game, but covering that 3, they might have to kick a last-second field goal to do it. So we're going to take Chargers in that game. The next game is Chicago Bears against the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are going on the road. Miami giving up almost 5 points. It's a tough pick. You know, Justin Fields is pretty inconsistent. It's a very possible upset game for the Dolphins. So we're going to take Chicago. We'll take the 5 points. Miami scoring 88 rushing yards per game isn't very impressive. They're also allowing 275 passing. So Justin Fields could have a big day against them. And I just feel like you got to find those upset games on a full schedule. So this would be one of them, possibly. Next game is going to be Cincinnati coming off of that big loss. They're 5-3 against the spread. Obviously, T. Higgins stepping it up. They got a great wide receiver core with Jamar Chase leading the way. Panthers are just terrible. You know, the Panthers are only 3 away. The spread's actually grown to 7 now that we're looking at it live. That's what I had it at. And Panthers are 1-5 in their last 5 games. So they're not winning. They don't expect to win. They trade away McCaffrey. You trade away McCaffrey, you're saying that the season's over. So I think Cincy comes out and gets this done. They have nobody. I think Mayfield's going to be back playing, which hurts them. Bengals aren't running the ball well, but that 294 passing because of that deep wide receiver core, I think Cincinnati gets this done. It's nice to be playing at home too. So next game is going to be the Lions. The Packers are coming in here looking like trash. Lions are looking like trash, but they're putting up these large amounts of points, man. Jared Goff's having a big season. Obviously, the running back duo in Detroit's exceptional. So Detroit's healthy, and I think that high-scoring offense stays at home here and covers that 3.5. Might be a 3-point loss, but I think they win that money line. Another tough game to pick. Obviously, Green Bay's been dealing with some issues, injury issues, wide receiver core. Aaron Rodgers trying to do his best, but he has no help whatsoever. So, next game's going to be New England Patriots at home, giving up 6. New England's won 3 out of their last 5. And Jacoby Myers obviously having a great season. Mac Jones only has 3 touchdowns on the season, and we need to face that fact that he needs to get that passing game in order. Obviously, Ramondre is leading the way rushing. Indianapolis 3-5 against the spread, so they're not necessarily covering even when they're getting these points. And Indy's just injured, man. That 16 points per game that Indy is scoring is not going to get it done. Jonathan Taylor's been hurt all year, still dealing with injuries. So they only have 87 rushing yards a game as a group over there in Indianapolis. They're not a very good team. And I think Belichick comes out here and takes advantage of them. I'll give up the 6 points, but really I guess these are all kind of tough games. I'd probably moneyline that pick too. After that, the Bills. We're taking the Bills minus the 13 in this game. It's a tough pick. I think that, as long as Zach Wilson's playing, the Jets have a good chance of losing any game. They have a great running game over there and a great pass rush, but I think the Bills show up and get this done, force some turnovers. Both teams are actually 4 out of 5 in their last 5. So both teams are actually playing really well. Allen's actually throwing picks this year, so he's got 6 interceptions on the year. Jets are 5-3 against the spread, so that's tough. Jets are winning against the spread. They might be able to keep this close. This is a really tough game. Both of their defenses are pretty good. I think that they put some pressure on the Bills. Jets' running game's good, but the Bills are only allowing 95 rushing yards a game. I mean, the Bills' defense is only allowing 14 points scored per game. So, with that being said, I guess we're going to take the Jets and take the 13 points. So we're going to take Jets plus 13 in that. Should be a close game, maybe like a 17-23 game. After that, we got the surprising Vikings. They're 6-1 on the year, going to Washington. Minnesota is obviously one of the best teams in the league. It's a possible upset game. They have been winning a lot. Washington is a lot better with Heineke. And so if he stays in there, I think they have an even chance. But they're just scoring that 17 points per game. And neither team rushes the ball well. But Minnesota has all the favorable matchups. So we're going to have to take Minnesota money line on the road, get that done. It's only 3-point spread, so we can money line it, not lose any money. Jacksonville's next. Jacksonville Jaguars are playing at home. Have better position matchups. Defensive lines do. Probably secondary, the wide receivers do. So, 2-win teams. They're 2 bad teams. So whenever you see 2 really poorly managed teams, you got to take the home field. So for that reason, we're taking Jacksonville. Davante Adams had one of the worst games of his career last week. I don't see him repeating that performance, but I think it's a statement of how they're feeling out there in 2-win Raidersville. So after that, we're going to the Seahawks game. Seahawks have been one of the more impressive teams on the year. Obviously 5-3, going into a Cardinals home turf that's, I think the Cardinals do want to win. I think they're doing everything they can. I just don't think they have the talent and dealing with a few injuries. So their wide receiver core has gotten deeper. But Seattle's just excelling in a lot of positions, man. I'm really impressed with Geno Smith having a great season. Their rookie running back, Walker III, playing at a Pro Bowl level since he's taken over the starter position. And there was two dime passes from Geno to Tyler Lockett. One of them he dropped, and the second one he pulled in for a touchdown. Geno's only got 3 interceptions on the year, So Geno's having a great season, and I think that Seattle at 5-3 against the spread, we're coming in as dogs. That's a great pick. That's one of my locks of the week. Take Seattle +2. Seattle's allowing a lot of rushing yards per game. But that Arizona defense is allowing 26 points per game, which Seattle's can take advantage of. Seattle's 4 out of 5 the last game. Seattle's won. They're actually on a 3-game win streak. After that, we have Tampa Bay at home playing the Rams. Tom Brady obviously dealing with a lot of personal stuff, dealing with his team not being good, which I'm sure he's not used to. But in this game, we might not have Cooper Kupp. Obviously, Mike Evans is questionable as well. Brady's got 1 interception on the year. You know, he's still playing at a high level. Without Cooper Kupp, I think that Tampa Bay wins this, no question. The Rams are obviously struggling. Every single game I've watched them play, they've looked like they were struggling. I'm going to take Tampa Bay money line. Tampa Bay is allowing 19 points per game, which is still good. They got a good pass defense. Both teams are not rushing the ball well at all. Both teams are rushing the ball about 60 yards a game. But this Tampa Bay losing streak's got to end. So, especially when you lose to Carolina and Pittsburgh. After that, we got Tennessee Titans. We're taking them plus 13 if Tannehill plays. Both teams are 5-2. Derrick Henry had a big game, but he was playing Houston Texans, so it doesn't really matter. But the Chiefs' defense is still suspect as hell. 297 passing yards a game allowed, 25 points per game scored. So we're gonna take them points with Tennessee if Tannehill plays. Maybe even if he doesn't. You know, it's a tough pick. But Kansas City scoring 170 rushing yards per game is kind of under. So I think that Tennessee has what it takes to win this game. And the last game is Saints. Take Saints at home. You money line it. It's less than 3 points right now. Not a lot of injuries to be concerned with, and Kamara's just balling out. So as long as Andy Dalton doesn't play, I know they're going to win. So they're equal in points per game and points allowed. So it's really a coin flip, but I'm taking the Saints in that one. Getting points at home would be great, but if you can money line it and get that plus, I'd take that. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Join the Overtime Live Sports Bet Radio group on Facebook, and tune back in with us next week for Week 10. And we'll compare our results. So may all your bets be live.